Hello. Now the next question we're gonna look at is in terms of Germany's unhappiness, right? So explain why the TOB was. Says explain why Germany was in fact unhappy with the TOB. Maybe a Treaty of Versailles. Alright, so this 8-mark question. Again, I need 2 factors to answer this question. Now, the 3H once again. Alright, you have it's too harsh. It's very harsh. It kept Germany very economically weak. Then the second one you have is too humiliating. Okay, humiliating links to keeping Germany politically weak. And the last one is actually there's some overlaps between each of these points. All right, unfair, or should I say, unfair, in order to make it 3H, right? So if harsh, humiliating, and unfair. Unfair, the main idea here is the dictated peace. It was actually a dictated peace. Now, these are going to be your anchors. Okay, your 3 anchors here: humiliating, harsh, and unfair. And then for your details, right, you're going to write down again the key details that you have learned in the PDF document. Plug and choose which one should you use as your details for harsh. Now, I would use, of course, the terms of the treaty, because the main idea of this question is the focus is on the Treaty of Versailles, right? In what way was it too harsh? So I'll focus on the money aspect here. So 2.4 reparations, right? 2.4 reparations speaks of 6,600 million pounds of reparations that Germany needs to pay. Okay, and I will also talk about some of the territorial reductions. Okay, in particular, the industrial regions, because you're talking about resources, or actually everything here. You're talking about the main idea of loss of resources. All right, resources helps to earn you money, and if you lose these resources, you will lose money. So the main thing here is to talk about reparations, 2.4 and 2.2, in terms of the loss of the industrial regions. So that is what I will list out under harsh, right? So in my, let me repeat one more time. My query, right? CR is my claim and reason. My claim is the Germany was unhappy with the TOV. This is my claim, right? As per the question. And my reason is because it is harsh in terms of keeping Germany economically weak. So in my elaboration, right, because I'm talking about the economy, I will talk about things related to the economy, which consists of your reparations, which the details are in the PDF document, and I'll also talk about the loss of the industrial regions. So I just elaborate on these 2 things, and that will form my elaboration. Okay, the next part is my explanation. And as you know, explanations should be something that you come up with in your own words. It's meant to link together everything that you wrote so far. Linking this, the TOV is harsh. How? Ask yourself the question again. How? Or what is the implication? Right, what is the direct impact? And what is the subsequent impact, if any? Right, so how, implication, direct impact, subsequent impact. Okay? Ultimately, you must lead to this thing: harsh and unhappy. Harsh, leading to the Germans becoming unhappy. Alright, so you have your reparations and you have the loss of industrial regions. Okay, how is this considered harsh? First question, how is this considered harsh? That will form your explanation. Is considered harsh as did not consider. Right. The Allies in making this treaty did not consider Germany's ability to pay. Right? It did not consider Germany's ability to pay. That is how it's harsh. Alright? Then you ask yourself again, how is it that Germany cannot pay? Because Germany already experiences losses. Losses in the war. Right? This information you pluck out from the impact of the war on Germany, right? Which is under 3.1 here. Okay, already lost all these things, 15% of male population and strikers in rear striking. So 15% of male population, and then you have your strikes, especially in the rural region. And you have your loss of resources. So this is the reason why Germany was unable to pay. And the treaty was harsh because it did not take into account this factor, the losses that Germany already experienced in the war, resulting in it being unable to pay. So that is the how. Alright. Now, next part is your implication. So what if all these things happen? Now you're going to talk about the aftermath. Therefore, with the implementation of the harsh treaty, it's also harsh because it's going to bring to the German people, right, poverty. This is your implication, right? Implication is going to bring them poverty, hardships, and economic depression, right, resulting in suffering. All right, economic depression, suffering, poverty, and hardships. All right, so in my explanation, it actually has two components, right? The how, which is how is this harsh, is harsh because the Allies did not consider Germany's ability to pay. So I'm going backwards. Before they make the decision, they did not consider the ability to pay. And before they made the decision, they already knew that Germany was losing 15% of its population and had a loss of resources. And after the treaty was signed, actually, they lost the rural as well. So loss of industrial regions, industrial land was lost. Okay, you can also say loss of industrial regions. Industrial regions. Okay, so this is the how part in your explanation. How is this harsh? Because your main point is harsh, right? So how is this harsh? How are they kept economically weak? Well, it's because the Allies did not consider the ability to pay, and because Germany already has so much losses because of World War I and because of the direct impact of the treaty. Then after that, you talk about implication. So then, how does the implication of the treaty make it harsh? What is the direct impact of the treaty that made it harsh? Or what is the subsequent impact of the treaty that made it harsh? Well, it brought poverty, hardship, economic depression, and lots of suffering to the population of Germany. As a result of this, it links back to my point here that it was actually a harsh treaty, which in turn links back to my claim that the harshness of the treaty was exactly the reason why Germany was unhappy with it. Therefore, I'm answering the question. Okay? So, whatever the question is, right? First thing is to think about what is your reasons. Okay, what is the reasons you're going to come up with? Next thing is to think about how are you going to present the information that you have memorized. In this case, is the reparation and the loss of industrial regions. All right, fit nicely to keeping Germany economically weak. Then the explanation is something you have to think about on your own. Okay, without the textbook help, you have to think about it on your own in the exam, because the exam can ask you a variety of questions. Some you may have already practiced before, some you may have not. So you have to know the ability of how you're going to explain your points. All right, and the one way to do it is to look at the how, implication, direct impact, subsequent impact. Right? How is it harsh? Okay, because your point is harsh, right? How is it harsh? Because Allies did not consider the ability to pay. What is the implication? Poverty, hardship, economic depression, and suffering. And all these things, all these explanation points that I made here are going to link back to the idea of my main point that the TOV is too harsh, and therefore linking back to my question, therefore the Germans are unhappy with the TOV. Okay, so you can end off with a little link here, which is just repeating the thing. Therefore, right, Germans were unhappy as the TOV was harsh, which is clearly explained already in my explanation. Alright, so this is one paragraph. 2 more to go, or maybe 1 more to go, and yeah.